to participate today. This is actually our very first time doing a virtual recruitment hour with Mercy College, and we are thrilled. This is a very, very interesting time for us in the organization. As you can imagine, we are actually placed within the schools, and it's a very interesting time to be working within the schools. We are considered an essential service for working parents and obviously for students as well. We are hiring and looking to add some talent to our organization, and that's where all of you hopefully will come in. So share the agenda that we can go to the next slide if that's okay. Okay.
Can you see that?
No.
You can't?
No, it didn't switch for us.
Okay, I see what's happening. I have to get out of presentation mode. Okay, is that better?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great.
So I just want to give you a quick rundown of the agenda. So I just did a little bit of a welcome. Then we'll go into the mission and vision of the organization. Then my colleague will he'll share a little bit of information about our staff diversity and what our staff looks like. We also have Andre and Greg Dinkinson, who are a deputy director, and I think they're both, and program manager, I think they're directors at the organization, and they're going to talk a little bit more on what a day in program looks like, and then Yater will go greater detail as to what our vacancies are. Actually, before I proceed, I do want to give my colleagues a chance to introduce themselves. I guess we can maybe start with Chrissy, Greg, and then Yater. Chrissy.
Hi everyone, hopefully you can hear me. My name is Chrissy Andre, and I'm the middle school deputy director for New York Edge. I've been with the organization, actually we're in October, 5 years now. And it's been a really great experience, so I'm excited to talk to you all about the different opportunities we have.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Greg Dickinson. I'm the Director of Elementary Programs. Been with New York Edge for about 2.5 years now. And just like Chrissy, looking forward to discussing a little bit more about our opportunities and how you guys can fit into those.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yater Bravo. I'm the Manager of Recruitment and Employment Services. I've been with New York Edge now for about 3.5 years. This is my second role now within New York Edge. I'm now in HR recruitment. And I'm so happy to be talking to you guys about the possibilities of you joining our team today. So should we get on to the agenda? I see my name several times there.
Yes. Yeah, so I guess we could share the video, Sarah.
Sure, I will just need to stop sharing for a moment.
Okay.
And pull up the video. Okay. Well, nice to meet you all, and thank you for coming today. Okay. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Great. Can you hear it?
No sound.
No sound. That's the same problem we had before.
Yeah. Well, no worries. I think, since I'll speak to the mission and the organization, maybe for now, and then we can send it, I guess, afterwards.
I'm sorry, we're having quite a few technical difficulties today. All right. So I will bring that PowerPoint back up.
Great.
Okay, we good?
Yeah, excellent. So I guess if we can go to slide 4. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but so for those of you who are not aware or don't know us, we are the largest provider of after-school programs in New York City. We are in over 130 schools across all 5 boroughs, and we serve students K through 12. 40,000 students. So we have a large footprint in New York City. And what that means is that we also need an entire village of employees and, and people who can support those students. So we hire over 1,400 employees every year, and we receive over 10,000 applications. So it is actually quite competitive, and it's very, very interesting. An amazing place to work. So just wanted to share that. Our, I guess, 3 pillars, if we go to slide 5, our 3 pillars or focus areas are academic, arts, sports, and health and wellness. And so of homework help, anything from STEM and tutoring to drawing and painting and all different, and music. But we also have sports programs and a nutrition program to provide our students with a well-rounded sort of education. And all of this is really tied together with social emotional I guess, learning and leadership components. So it's a pretty well-rounded program. We run typically between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m., although we do have some programs that are full-time, especially now. We've acquired a couple of sites called Learning Labs, which were these responses to the COVID-19 pandemic and parents needing a place to drop off their child during the day while they go to work. And so this is we do have some programs that run all day. If we can go to the next slide, I'm gonna leave it with Yader to talk a little bit more about our staff diversity.
All right, so hi everybody. So our mission for New York Edge is to bridge that opportunity gap that exists with lower income, underserved, under-resourced communities. We primarily just do after school and support services. So we are in all 5 boroughs. With that said, in terms of we want to make sure that our staff reflect the students that we are working with and the population that we are working with. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see our diversity in terms of hiring. So we try to make sure that when we're talking about diversity, equitable inclusion, we are at the forefront of it. 52% of our staff are Black or African American, 32% Latino and Hispanic. We do have a smaller population of Asian, we have 5% white and other. But we try to make sure that it's reflective of the students that we have. We are constantly looking at ways to improve the diversity within our own staffing to meet the needs of our students, especially in those higher population areas of the variety of Asian population and cultures. So hopefully that is something that interests you, and if not you, maybe somebody that you know. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about a little bit more about what we actually go through in the day. And I'm going to turn over to my colleagues, Chrissy and Greg, to talk about what, now, okay, Yater, I'm hearing you, you're hiring. What are you hiring for? What do you guys do? So Chrissy and Greg will give us a little more information about what we actually do.
Peter, for turning it over. So in terms of a typical day in program, so as Estefania and Yader also spoke about, we're located throughout the 5 boroughs. So you could apply to any position throughout the 5 boroughs. For the tutor counselor role, it's typically our entry-level role where we hire students to really assist in subject-based tutoring. It can range from our elementary students all the way to our high school students, from ELA to math to science, whatever your specialty is. We do allow the tutor counselors to have the opportunity to do small group instruction and/or individual instruction. The tutor counselor role is also designed to be more of an entry-level role, to where if you're not sure what you want to do, but you want to work with kids eventually, or you want to, kind of segue into different careers, our tutor counselor role is a really great opportunity to do that. So from the tutor counselor role, you're able to shadow different specialists, because we do have a thing called activity specialists, and they're our leads. So we may hire a chemistry person, or we might hire a sports specialist, or different activities. And the tutor counselor would typically support in making sure that the activity happens, and it happens according to our different funding requirements. We receive funding through different various sources, and every program is a little different depending on if it's an academic grant. So if it's an academic grant, we may be more focused on academics at that site. Typically, our largest funder is DYCD, which is a city-funded grant, in which case we offer holistic programming, and the tutor counselor is really able to support in the different avenues of programming. So typically, when a tutor counselor comes in, program would start around 2:30, 3 o'clock, depending on what time the school ends for the particular school. And the tutor counselor clocks in, and then they kind of join their different cohort. So typically I work with middle school, so a tutor counselor might literally, they come in, they clock in, and then if they're 6th grade assigned, then they'll go to 6th grade. Typically we'll offer a snack first, because the students are coming off of a long day of school. So we wanna make sure that there's a break where they can interact with their peers. After that, we would take the students to an activity. Every schedule is different because we do really stress voice and choice for our students. We want our students to just not come to after school programming because their parents are forcing them, but we really want them to develop skills and really define and develop their interests. So depending on what group you're assigned to, you may move into a sports component, a dance component, or an academic component. After that, we may have a schedule, depending on the site. Sometimes we do academics first, or sometimes we do activities first. It's really site specific, and the tutor counselor really supports in that. We love the tutor counselor role in our organization just because it is so multifaceted. You're really learning, and you're able to eventually speak to your site director and say, hey, I really love the tutor counselor role, but I'd like to transition into something else. And then we could use whatever your focus is, whatever your interest is, and then you can transition into one of our activity specialist positions. Typically, tutor counselors are with us for 1 to 2 years because it is a short-term role, because you're really learning and you're trying to navigate and trying to see what you're going to do next. So whenever we hire tutor counselors, we're really looking for someone who wants to grow, and someone that's really, wants to develop and really has a passion for working with youth. So that's really a typical day of after school programming. We operate Monday through Friday for the most part. Usually we'd have trips, but of course, due to COVID, that has changed. So we're really offering virtual and in-person services. So we're hiring for both positions. Some of our programs are strictly remote right now, but traditionally we would be offering in-person services. So we are really hiring for that right now as well. So that's really a day in program, and I'll kind of I'll let Greg segue into how we've really transitioned in terms of COVID-19 and our new safety protocols in order to make sure our staff are safe and feel comfortable working in person with kids.
All right, great. Thanks, Chrissy. So like Chrissy described, the tutor counselor role in being our entry-level position, and really, being kind of like a springboard to other youth development opportunities within our organization. And just wanted to describe a little bit. I know sometimes there may be some nervousness, some hesitation around, oh my God, I've never worked with kids before. What if I don't get it right? What if I don't know what to do? So we really have an organizational structure at the site that allows for you to learn, allows for you to ask questions, allows for you to be supported in every step of the way. So at the site, we have, every site has what we call an after-school program director. And that person is really the person that's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the site, developing the schedule, making sure that everybody receives professional development, that they learn, in accordance with their needs, that all of the students' needs are being met, that parents' concerns are being addressed. They're working with the school to really create like a seamless environment between after school and the day school. So that's really like your go-to person in terms of leadership at the site. The site director in most cases has an assistant director who is really like that person's right hand, and they really support them with just executing a lot of the strategies at the site. Some of our DYCD sites that Chrissy mentioned also have education specialists, and those people most often are teachers and people that have education backgrounds, and they really help us with developing different program activities that align with day school learning standards and just different educational priorities that our funders have and that the school has. And then as Chrissy mentioned, we have activity specialists who are really the catalyst for implementing and facilitating our activities. And they range from different sports specialists to STEM specialists to different arts, performing arts and visual arts. And those are really your content experts and those people that really deliver those quality services. And then as Chrissy mentioned, the tutor council is really supporting that. So as you can see, there's really like a robust structure in terms of support, guidance, and people that you can reach out to if this is your first time working with children and you're really not exactly 100% sure or confident in what you're going to be doing initially. So then in terms of like the safety piece, obviously this is a new world that we're experiencing, and we were fortunate enough to have an opportunity over the summer to pilot some programming and kind of get in some in-person programming and get our feet wet. And we have a whole compliance team in our headquarters that's really dedicated to looking at all of the new safety protocols, the standards, the requirements, and really aligning our operational practices with those standards. So we've spent a lot of time developing our safety protocols, our health and safety protocols this year. And we actually have some programs that have started already, and they are operating and implementing these safety protocols. Not going to get into all of the details because it's probably like an hour-and-a-half training that you would go through if you are selected to work at one of our sites. That would go into all of the details, but just a general overview. So we really take health and safety serious. And that's something that is a top priority for our agency and for every site director. And everything starts with that, the safety of our staff, the safety of our children. And so before anybody is allowed to enter our program space, they have to go through a health screening, a daily health screening. And that involves your temperature being taken. That involves some like screening questions that are asked. It's about 4 simple questions, and everybody has to check off like negative on those different qualifiers before they're allowed to enter into the program. If anybody does answer yes to any of those questions or does have a fever over a certain temperature, then they're not allowed in the program. So that's like the first step that we're taking to really do that health screening and limit accessibility to people who are exhibiting any of the potentially COVID-related symptoms. And that, like I said, that happens on a daily basis. There's also just certain parent guidelines that parents have to sign off before they sign their child up for the program, where they're attesting to, doing daily health checks of their kids and not sending them to program if they have temperatures above certain degrees, and different things like that. Then all of our sites are in terms of practices, implementing social distancing. So all of our activities, all of our transitions, all of our, just everything involving our operations are structured to implement social distancing. And our sites are also equipped with PPE equipment. So all of our sites have received boxes of equipment with everything from hand sanitizer to masks and gloves, face shields, just everything you can think of is provided to our sites and is replenished on a consistent basis, so that every site has the PPE equipment required to maintain the proper practices in accordance with the different local and state and federal guidelines. So again, I won't get into all of it, but there's a lengthy training that you would have to attend. There's multiple trainings that our site directors have attended, and there's regular follow-up that's happening on a consistent basis with parents, with kids, and with staff to ensure that everyone is complying with these new regulations to just make sure that we're providing the safest environment possible for all of our children and our staff. So I think that was really from Chrissy and I's perspective, just to give you an overview of what a typical day would look like, what the role that you would be potentially applying for looks like, the support systems that we have in place, and then the safety protocols that we have in place. So with that, I guess I can turn it back over to Yader and Estefania.
Thanks, Greg. So as you know, they were talking about different roles within the after-school world. We are currently looking for people from all skill sets. As they said, the tutor counselor role is really that entry level. Like, I'm looking to work with kids. I have an interest in working with kids, so I'm looking to work, give back. If you're about, doing the community grassroots work, because we are in these communities that, as I said, are underserved, under-resourced, typically lower income. So we try to serve our neediest kids and within the 5 boroughs, right? And right now, with what's going on in the world in terms of the pandemic, we are considered an essential service. So as a member of our staff team, you'd be an essential worker, going to the schools and providing childcare. But it goes beyond just childcare, right? We're giving kids an experience. We're giving them a chance to learn beyond the classroom. So that's why we have 3, on the slide you see that we have 3 vacancies listed, but that's just a sampling of what we're actually looking for. These are the more general ones, because we could get, when you go and you see the next slide of the application process, when you go to our website, you'll see a ton of vacancies available and openings. So something from as very specific to African drum circle specialist, to very general as a subject-based tutor, which we're just looking for people who have expertise or a general knowledge of different areas such as math, science, English, to help kids with their homework, right? And then we have something, if you're a little more skilled, so in sports and science. So we're looking for well-rounded people and people who are experts in their field as well. And part of the reason why we like to cater to college students is because it is a part-time job. We understand that we're very flexible for the most part when it comes to your schedule. We understand that you're also going to school, but also need work, right? So when you go to log on to our website, newyorkedge.org/careers, you'll click on apply now, and it'll take you to a page that has all the job listings, and you can read them in depth. There's also on Handshake, they're listed on there as well. And it'll prompt you right back to our page where you could apply externally. At this point, I will open up to any questions that you may have. Somebody asked the question, is there a deadline? There is no deadline for this. We are constantly actively recruiting on a rolling basis.
I had a
Thank
question
you.
as well. Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
Sarah.
Are you okay if I stop screen sharing? You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, great. Sorry,
Awesome.
Samantha, take it away.
Thanks. I had two questions, actually. I wanted to start by asking, are you only recruiting for in-person roles at this time or also remote? Because I know you mentioned those are available too, or might be.
So the remote work is very limited because as I said, we're an essential service. We're essential workers. So the demand is for in-person right now.
Got it. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I had the right details there. And then my other question was, when students go to apply, are they assigned to a site or can they select preferences for where it's convenient for them to go based on where they live, for example?
So yes, when we pair them up for sites, we take into account where they live. The students in the application process, you guys can actually tell us, I prefer only Bronx or only Queens. And you can be even more specific than that. Like, actually, I'd only really prefer Jamaica, Lower East Side, and we'll work with that and what's the closest site, and basically based off our needs, because it's really where the needs and the vacancies are that we start placing students or applicants. We don't just blindly put you anywhere. We'll ask you.
That's great to know. Thank you. That was all I had to ask for now.
Thank you so much, guys, for that comprehensive presentation. Who else has questions? Should I stop recording so people are comfortable? I'll pause.